So Modern Warfare 2 came out a couple of days ago, and obviously we've all been playing it. We've had our time to, sink our teeth into this content and everything and really get a grip on the game. But as we've played it for a good, a couple of hours, you can see that the game clearly needs some updates. It is in desperate need of some retooling. Some major patches are going to have to come out very soon to even get the game in a semi-working state. So we're going to be talking about the first major update that we're probably going to see for this game. Now, let me be clear, the game is not an absolute disaster train wreck. Like, most of the game is functional, but there are some things that are just missing from the full game that are clearly not done or need to be optimized. And in particular, the first thing that we need to discuss that is already confirmed to be changing is the UI. Now, I made my ultimate guide, and a lot of you who have seen that will know that the UI of this game is really messy, unorganized, and just quite frankly sloppy. It's one of those things where I feel like they tried to do too much with not enough time, and they have too many features that are just not organized properly, and Infinity Ward have said that they are fixing the UI and completely overhauling it. However, it's not going to be done in one big patch. They are going to be cleaning up and organizing the UI in stages. So I imagine the next update that's going to be coming out for the game probably within like a week, maybe a little longer depending on what happens, but the first major update for this game I'm sure is going to address at least a fair amount of the UI changes, but it's not going to be all of them. I do not know how long it's going to take for them to get the UI to the state they want it to be, but as of right now, it is kind of unacceptable. But besides UI, another thing that is going to be addressed in a major patch is weapon tuning. So for those of you who played on day one, if you got a gun to max level, you'll notice that you had the ability to tune your attachments on that, fully leveled up weapon. That was removed from the game after like 2 or 3 days because this was the main culprit, evidently causing all of the crashes for all platforms. And, they completely just ghosted it from the game. They didn't even say when it's coming back. They said they're removing it until further notice, and as of right now, it's still not in the game. It's nowhere to be found. So I think the thing with weapon tuning, besides the literal technical issues causing game crashes, the thing that also needs to be looked at is the fact that the attachments themselves do not work well with the guns, or I think the gunplay they're going for. This is a deep-rooted issue with the attachment system more broadly, but basically, you'll notice in Modern Warfare 2, every attachment you put on your gun really hurts the aim down sight speed for the most part. Damn near every single one has that attribute, and it makes your gun so heavy and almost impossible to use for some of them. And I think the attachment tuning was obviously supposed to play into that system and mitigate that problem a little bit, but with that not in the game anymore, we are left with the, unholy truth that putting attachments on your gun just really, for the most part, isn't that optimal. Sometimes it's better to use no attachments on certain weapons than it is to apply anything. Like the entire system they're going for, where we have more attachments than you could ever want, more customizability through weapon tuning of those attachments, and theoretically they're going for this really deep customized gun system. The problem is, you still really have a net negative for almost any attachment you pick. Let's say you have 40 choices for an attachment on a particular component. The viable attachment selection, or even just somewhat neutral, ranges from 0 to maybe 3 to 5 max. It's there are so many attachments that are just a net negative and always will be, unless some really major, overhauls are done. I think in particular, the aim down sight speed penalty for adding attachments needs to be reduced as you add more attachments, if that makes sense. They cannot stack upon one another. It makes guns feel entirely way too heavy, and just you can't use the things you want. Call of Duty is supposed to be about playing the most individual style you would like to, and really making a gun that suits that, but you're penalized for even doing so. So expect some pretty decent overhauls to come to the attachment and gunsmith system, as well as the attachment tuning system to return. That'll happen at some point soon. But anyways, let's talk about the maps that have been removed for the game or might be removed soon. So you may have noticed, if you played the beta, there was the museum map, and at some point during the beta, it got removed, and we're like, okay, we weren't really sure why. They added it back in, and then for the full game, it's nowhere to be found once again. So what happened? Apparently, this map is, based off a location in real life. It's a museum in LA, and they did not get the proper permissions, apparently, for, to even use the likeness of this map at all. So they're in some kind of legal battle. We don't even know if this game is going to come back whatsoever. They had legal troubles with museum, with the raceway map. They had to completely change the name and a few other elements, and they're also having legal problems with the hotel map. So there's a good chance that museum never makes it back to the full game, and hotel could possibly get removed. So if you enjoy that map, which I don't, so I'm not worried about it, but if you enjoy that map, go and play it more, and, we'll see what happens to it, but it is pretty crazy. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have noticed the fact that some of the just basic bones of a Call of Duty game are inexplicably missing. So, for example, combat record and being able to see your basic stats just don't exist in the game. You want to see your KD or like how many of certain medals you've earned? Sorry, can't do that right now. Barracks are also nowhere to be found. There's no UI timer for how long your XP token is active. So when I've started using mine, I just have to look at a clock and like, oh, in an hour from now, approximately, I will not have double XP, stuff like that. Shouldn't have to do that. And then also ranked play is not in the game. However, they did confirm that earlier today that ranked play will be coming in 2023. I assume, very early on, maybe January, February, along that timeline. Also, things like custom reticles and even blueprints. Like, blueprints have been such an integral part of this new, like, style of Call of Duty ever since Modern Warfare 2019 that to not have it, especially at the launch of this game, just did feel really odd. But I imagine because this is such a, core piece to the store and also their monetization tactics that literally blueprints cannot not exist whenever the store gets up and running. But it is, like, still pre-season right now, so I imagine a lot of that stuff will be coming sometime around the time of Season 1, or at least they have to get that interface working before the store is actually functional. The community's also been pretty vocal about no crossplay disabling option for Xbox and PC players. For PlayStation, and I guess specifically on PS5, this works fine, but for any Xbox or PC players, the option, the ability to disable crossplay is like nowhere to be found. I genuinely don't know if that was intentional or not, but it is only accessible on PlayStation at the moment. Now, this next one's pretty important. Infinity Ward have confirmed that they're making some adjustments and changes to camo progression. They did not elaborate on many details, but I think this means probably two things. Number one, they're going to be addressing the glitches themselves that were preventing people from acquiring camo. So, for example, there was problems with, camo progression not tracking correctly with certain weapons and, using certain attachments. You would not be able to unlock camos. It was definitely a bug, but also at the same time, I think this means they may be adjusting the amount of XP that is granted for, certain weapons. In particular, playing Invasion right now is by far the fastest way to rank up guns and get camos, and it's like almost too fast according to some people if you're using double weapon XP and that sort of thing, but we don't know if they are going to be maybe nerfing the amount of XP that is granted through these modes. Like, that's a little bit unclear right now. So at the moment, before any of these patches roll out, if you want to level up your weapons, I would say probably now is the time to do so before any further adjustments to the game are made. Infinity Ward also disabled the use of ping in multiplayer because there was this game-breaking glitch. I had it in my games a couple of times, I'm sure you guys have too, where you would ping an enemy and it would stay on them permanently. Like, it would follow them through walls. It would, immediately spawn on them as soon as they enter the map again. It was actually like using a wall hack. Absolutely broken, and something that Infinity Ward thankfully removed pretty quickly, but this was obviously not working properly or as intended. So I imagine it's going to come back, but it's going to be, functioning as normally, but I just don't know when. But then finally, the big ticket stuff that is coming on November 16th is obviously, that's when the release of Warzone 2 is coming. DMZ is also coming out, so these two massive pillars of game modes coming to Modern Warfare 2. There's apparently some new fan-favorite MP maps that are being released, as well as a new Spec Ops mission. The Battle Pass and everything will be coming with the release of Season 1 and all of the peripherals with that, but the big stuff is going to be coming on the 16th. We don't know if any of these minor patches and things that, were spoke about in the beginning of the video are going to be addressed beforehand. I imagine a lot of the stuff will probably happen at once. Apparently, the hardcore playlist is also being added to the rotation with the release of Warzone 2 and DMZ, and the big update on the 16th with the release of Season 1. You can actually see what the prestige icons look like from this image. This is most likely the final build of this, or what it's going to actually look like. All of this major stuff that's happening on the 16th, the only worry I have is that the implementation of these things will possibly break maybe a lot of the hotfixes or smaller changes that they make in the meantime. I don't know how many of these smaller changes will be implemented before then, but I just hope it's not a mess when they do actually roll out the big update on the 16th and when like Season 1 actually finally kicks off. Because if we have a successful kickoff with Season 1, then the game is already in a much better trajectory than it could be. I just hope they really nail it with this upcoming update. And please, for the love of God, I am begging you, if the VFX team is listening to this, please give us digital green kill pop-up animations instead of this white one. Literally the entire community would like this. So anyways, as far as the most major updates, these are going to be happening on the 16th when Season 1 rolls out. Warzone 2 and DMZ are going to be releasing at the same time. So any content regarding that, don't worry, I got you covered here as well. So if you enjoyed the video, drop a like and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If there's any other like issues that you had in Modern Warfare 2, feel free to leave them in the comments as well. I'm sure that this will be some kind of a discussion board for updates or maybe bugs that you've encountered that haven't yet been discovered. Let me know any issues that you would like to see patched out down below. But anyways, have a good day, guys. That's pretty much it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.